Hello everyone, it is Walt, and today I wanted to describe to you guys another one of the minions of fear that we are working to fight on this channel here, because in my model of the mind, there is simply love and fear. It's a dichotomy that works just like that. We have love and we have fear, and all of our base kind of emotions, all of our states of mind really either stem from love or fear. Loving emotions make us feel good and accomplish things. Fearful emotions make us feel bad and unable to accomplish things. Now, this is assuming we do not have any kind of regulation of outside substances kind of stuff coming in. This is just the model of the mind, for a normal person who's not like, say, because I know, there's some drugs that are going to push the mind one way or the other, put a lot of chemical imbalances in that will cause a diminishing returns effect and eventually some pretty nasty side effects. So assuming we're not talking about a massive, chemical effect on the brain under normal circumstances either is just going to operate from love or from fear. That's just the psychology of it. So every emotion stemming back to that. And that was one of the first videos I shot on this channel, over 300 and some videos ago at this point. But yeah, so really the thing about love and fear is that fear tends to try to sabotage our lives in as many ways as possible, because it's kind of a self-preservation move. If we were to get rid of fear here, then basically that fearful part of our mind would not be able to propagate and to continue to exist. It's also something that's been programmed into us from a very early age by people who were also very fearful and thought fear was necessary in order to do better. But in our modern society, fear is really just hindering us. So this is kind of just getting into one of these other enemies of fear. So at this point, the model has found quite a few kind of versions of fear, which I've talked about previously, but I'll give you guys a brief recap on that if you haven't heard of them. So basically we have a few different versions there. We got like guilt to begin with, making you feel bad about the past. Perfectionism, making you feel like you have to do everything perfectly, in a specific order. So today I must accomplish these 100 things and it's going to be so great, and then you only accomplish 90 of those things and then you feel like a failure, like you accomplished nothing. That's perfectionism. Then you have doubt, which is really just going and saying you're wrong about everything. So whenever you stumble or whenever you attempt to accomplish something, doubt is just there to say you're wrong, you can't do this kind of idea. The Cynic, which is the fourth kind of minion of fear I've discovered, the Cynic is just a guy who basically is almost a societal mindset that says that everything is always broken and it's our job to fix it. So it basically says that because something is not the way we perfectly imagined it, it must be broken, and therefore it's our job to fix it. So if something's working to do good, a lot of people can't see that good because the Cynic says, oh, it's got this problem, this problem, this problem, instead of saying, oh, there's net good here, which is the real important thing, I mean, if a solution moves things forward at all, that is a good solution, okay? But a lot of people don't want to use a good solution because it's not perfect, And this is really where idealism fails a ton and has problems. It's good to have good ideas, but if you insist that your ideas must be the way everything goes exactly perfectly, you're just acting from the Cynic kind of model that says that everything is broken, when really everything is not broken. A lot of things work great, so acknowledge the things that work great here and don't just say that they're broken. Now, that said, it's important now to see another enemy here in the mind, which is Overkill. Overkill, I'm calling the fifth minion of fear, basically. Overkill is basically this kind of emotional state that pushes us to keep going on things when we don't want to, okay? So imagine, my best example is like doing dishes, for example. So sometimes I find doing dishes to be okay. I'll start doing it and I can do it for 20, 30 minutes, no problem. But when it becomes an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, it becomes a drag, it becomes a pain. And I would like to be able to stop. But this force that keeps me doing those dishes, saying, okay, come on, you can finish this, you gotta finish this task. Even though my desire, my happiness, my loving emotions have abandoned me on finishing the task. I find the same thing to be true when working on various projects, when I'm either writing something, making a series of videos, or, you know, working on some analysis, doing work, any of that kind of stuff that I like to do. Basically, I get the inspiration, I get the ideas, I get going on it, but then there's a point when I lose that motivation. You know, I've been doing hours of work or something, and I just hit this point when desire is kind of like tapped out, when I'm just like, okay, you know, like, we worked a lot on this, but we have a finite amount of energy and time here, so don't just like throw it all into this one thing. But this is where overkill comes in, because overkill is this emotional state that makes us keep doing things even when we've lost our motivation. So I know when we have deadlines, when we have things we absolutely must do by a certain point in time, that sometimes this is inevitable. But the majority of the time, there are things that we have choices about for when we do them, when we begin, when we stop, when we take breaks, all that kind of stuff. And so this is one of those cases where basically overkill just pushes us to go over our normal level of desire and to get to a level where we hate doing something. So for example, if I was writing on a piece, overkill would be an emotional state that pushes me to do it. Oh, you have to do this, you know, 8 hours a day, kind of, or something like that. When I might be comfortable doing it for 2 hours a day, 1 hour a day, 4 hours a day, whatever amount of time, it pushes us past our natural level of being engaged with the thing, thinking that it's fun, okay? And so overkill basically ruins the things that we find to be pleasant work, okay? Things that we find to be productive and useful, or generating passive income, or any of that kind of stuff. Basically, it just pushes it over the top. That's why I call it overkill here. It is just going over the top past our normal amount of desire, because desire is one of those emotional states that will never steer us wrong, okay? It's when we really want to accomplish something that is good, you know, something that's not going to hurt anybody else in the process, then that is a good desire. So trying to go after desire is great, but when we run into overkill, overkill is simply saying, okay, now that you've started, more is always better, you must do more right now. So it's like, okay, if you did this stuff, you now need to do double that amount. And overkill is just this like state of more is better, or you must do more kind of idea, and it really ruins the process. It ruins the amount of fun time you can have. So I would say the biggest lesson to learn about overkill and really how to defeat it is simply that overkill is a state of mind that is going to take what was once fun and now make it miserable, and it will make you do it so much that you'll hate to ever do it, okay? And so when you lose that loving state of mind when you're doing something, it's important to be able to take breaks and to take some time off to kind of reflect on it and consider what's going on, and not just to keep plowing forward. I mean, we've been taught so much about how we have to keep working no matter what, and then bam, we end up hating these kind of tasks that we might once have loved, entirely thanks to overkill just trying to ruin our desire. Because fear's goal is always to ruin desire, to ruin the loving emotions, to ruin our ability to be happy and to accomplish things. So instead, let's get rid of that idea. Let's be happy. Let's accomplish things. Let's get rid of overkill, the fifth enemy of fear. So thank you guys for watching. I am Walt. I will see you guys next time. If you have not read some of my books on Amazon, check them out. I'll give you guys a link to those in the description, comments, or somewhere around here. And yeah, thanks for watching. Check out my stuff, check out the playlist, subscribe to the channel, all that kind of thing. And I'll see you guys next time with the next video. So stay tuned. I'll see you then.